Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ryan Schroep, and I'm currently working on a series called Reality Check, where I am going through my transition from a W-2 into working as a full-time real estate investor. So hopefully you can learn something from this video. If you haven't already, make sure to go ahead and nail that subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment if you learned something or have any questions. Other than that, let's get going. Welcome back, everybody, to the channel, and welcome back to Reality Check. This is episode 2 of the series. In the first episode of Reality Check, I talked a little bit more about leaving the W-2 and what that's looked like for me. And today I wanted to go a little bit more in depth just on basically adjusting to kind of working from home and just the differences there. Because I think there's definitely some things that I may not have thought about, and I'm sure there's other people that haven't as well when it comes to working from home. So let's jump into it. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment if you learned something or if you thought something was interesting. As I continue to work on this stuff, I really appreciate that. But getting started on the adjustment to work from home, I'd say one of the big things that I didn't think about was just going from like the constant interaction of having a job, or at least the job I had and the job I think probably most people have, where you interact with people all day and eat lunch with people and whatever it may be, to transitioning to something where it's fully just me, right? So now working from home, and this is honestly something that I'm sure a lot of people experienced a couple of years ago that I'm just now experiencing. So maybe I should have listened more to other people, or maybe nobody was telling me about it. But it gets really lonely just being at home all day. It's a long time to kind of just be sitting in a room by myself doing work, whether I'm super busy or not busy at all. And I think that's one of the, I don't know if I'd even call it a downsides, but just something that I didn't think about when it came to what I'm doing now. And I think the glorified version of working for myself is that I can, make my own schedule and travel whenever I want. And that's true. And I have done that. So that is good stuff. And I'm certainly not complaining about that. But that's more or less like the outlier when it comes to the day to day, because the reality is when I'm working for myself, I've got to get the work done in order to get the paycheck. And so most of my time is spent just working long hours, long days. And that time is spent, you know, pretty much solo at the house, getting the work done. Um, and so I've been transitioning into trying to figure out, how to kind of find new ways to build community and just get around more people throughout the day. Because like I said, it's just really difficult just sitting here all day trying to stay motivated on work and not being able to, like, there's stuff that I didn't think about as a break that was just, having a conversation with the person that sat next to me, or, walking around the building and checking out what other people were doing. Like, those little things are ways to take breaks and like allow yourself to kind of reset a little bit. But for me, I don't really have, or I haven't had that type of thing to like fall back on and take breaks on. Um, and so I'm like very much right now trying to figure out with the work from home stuff how to force myself into more situations where I can have interaction, where I can have more community. Some of that stuff looks like, trying to go to coffee shops more often. It sounds really small, but like just getting out of the house, moving around more. I used to drive my car 3 hours a day to and from work. And now I'm lucky if I drive my car at all during the week. My car mostly just sits there. So just trying to get out and do stuff is one of the big ones that I've worked on. Trying to meet up with other people that have the same schedule. That's a really hard one for me, just because I don't really know a lot of other people that have flexible schedules during the day in my area. But there are some people, and I'll show later today. I'm going out to get lunch, so I'm trying to do that at least once a week with people, again, just to get out and about. But it's definitely not easy. So that's something in the like the adjustment to working from home, that's really difficult. And then another big one has been adjusting to the fact that my schedule now works off of a lot of people that live in a different time zone than me. And all this stuff I'm sharing, like, I think it's cool that I'm sharing it right now, because I'm not sharing it and then saying like this is my solution. I'm sharing it and saying like I don't really know how to solve this stuff exactly. So I don't know if that's as helpful to people, but it's just where I'm at. Because one of the other things that I struggle with is that I work with a lot of people on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast, and my natural schedule right now, because of my job and also because of Haley's schedule, is to get up early and get things started and get going. And so when I get up at 5 o'clock, it's only 2 o'clock on the West Coast. And so that's a blessing and a curse, because there's a lot of time for me to kind of get uninterrupted work in, which I love. But there's also a large gap of time at the end of the day that I didn't think about. So for me, I totally, like, it's not that I ever expect to not be working when I'm working for myself. I know that I work long hours. I know that I end up working late. But it can get really frustrating when, after 5 o'clock, when Haley gets home and we're trying to go hang out with friends or eat dinner or whatever, it's still only 2-3 o'clock on the West Coast. And so things are still full scale. And so I'm still getting a bunch of phone calls. I'm having people reach out, getting blown up with emails, all of that stuff. And so that's another thing that I haven't really figured out, is like how to set myself up in a way where I can handle that better and be able to either suck it up, I guess, and figure out how to keep working through that time. Or hopefully my idea is continue to build a business where I can work with other people who can handle that incoming lead flow, handle those emails, especially on the stuff that's time sensitive, without me having to, step out from dinner or whatever it may be. So figuring out how to manage like the different time zone times now that I work remotely versus obviously when I worked in an office and everybody was doing the same thing. So that's a couple different things that I've just been working through on the work from home stuff that I think other people may go through as well, and just not talk about or not bring up. But that's definitely, I mean, I guess you could call it a downside, but it's more just like an unknown. I think for me on working for myself is just recognizing how intentional I have to be about getting around other people, and not just finding a community, but just finding people that are in a similar position that are going to be able to talk with me during the day, interact with me during the day, and kind of keep that stuff going. And I think that's a personal thing, because I know that there's some people that probably would love to be unbothered all day, right? And I've accomplished that. So check mark if that's you. But for me, coming from a background where I'm constantly interacting with people, constantly doing activities and all that stuff, it is really hard to just be kind of locked up and cooped up in one place at a time. So that's definitely just a couple things that I've been working through and living with on a day-to-day basis, trying to figure out the best way to go about it. I'm gonna take some videos of the day, just kind of with the work I'm doing here, a little bit of the setup. Hopefully I'll get a really nice setup going here pretty soon, and I can do like a cool setup video or whatever. Haven't gotten that far yet. But I'll do that. And then I'm also going to be, like I said, trying to get out and about, maybe go to a coffee shop, go to lunch, things like that. So just show a little bit more of like a typical day adjusting to work from home. So yeah, let's check it out. Only way to run into people when you work from home is go out to lunch. We got Jamie, Marcos here, meeting me for lunch, giving me my one person to talk to for the week. So good vibes out here. Headed back to the office now. So another thing that I've learned about the work from home is that I got to get outside and just take walks during the day. Another thing I wouldn't think of, but when I'm at the office, or when I was at the office, I would always be up, talking to other people at their desk, getting up for lunch, whatever, walking back to the lab. But when I'm at home, I'll spend like 5-6 hours just sitting at the computer, staring at the computer in the dark, which is not great for me, certainly, and also definitely is going to make me get fat and ugly way quicker. So try and get outside when I can. Another a thing that I do to help with that is I try and do what I would call like habit stacking, or I don't know, something like that, which is just trying to combine activities. So for me, I take a bunch of calendar calls, talking to new students, trying to give them advice or whatever you want to call it, and just kind of talk them through getting started and what me getting started looks like. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm about to take those calls, and I combine that with these walks just to get my steps in for the day, get outside and actually move a little bit, and make sure that I'm not just staying stagnant forever. Because when I first started, I realized that I was spending
literally the entire day just sitting there staring at a screen. So got to get outside, got to make up reasons to get outside or force myself to combine it with other things to do that. So another tip.
So there you have it. That's a little bit of a day right now for me, working from home, adjusting to this new lifestyle, getting things figured out. Hopefully, maybe something was learned or some insight was provided in this video. I hope to continue to do that in this reality check series, really taking those things that get elevated out of proportion and bringing them back down to earth a little bit for people to just get a different perspective on how things work. So I appreciate you guys checking out this video. I'm going to be posting super consistently on this channel now. I'm working on 3 times a week, having fun trying to figure out how the heck to accomplish that and still provide value to people the best that I can. So I'm going to continue to work on that. I appreciate you guys being here, and until next time.